Welcome to the Family Office, planning for the people who matter most.
Geopolitical stuff. I mean, you want to pull that up,
Okay.
but, because it's just something that I think that is it's interesting to see that. But here's what I can tell you in my travels.
Okay.
In my travels recently, it is very, very hard because for me, I watch. Like when they say things to stay healthy, right? Or things to stay like what are the things that I can normally do that just that are easy, right? And like for example, you got to sleep at least 6 to 8 hours every night, and it's got to be clean sleep, right? Correct. Like it's got to be clean, dark room. Uninterrupted, cool room, right? Like 68 degrees, 70 degrees, dark though. Most
cell
people
phone in a different room, TV off, all of that. Yes.
Yeah. See, I'm fortunate enough where our bathroom is like an ensuite in our bedroom, so I can shut the doors to the bathroom and it's isolated. So I leave my phone at the opposite end now of the bathroom. And I plug it in and I charge it there and I put it in airplane mode at night because and most people don't take for granted, like make your room dark, like especially if you're a dudes need to sleep in. I tease my wife all the time and I tell her, I say, I want a coffin. I want to sleep in a coffin because you want absolute darkness. It's important for men because if you don't get absolute darkness, you can't produce your hormone system, your endocrine system can't replenish correctly. And testosterone is produced at night when you sleep.
That's correct.
Right? So that's one of them. And then what's the other one? Don't eat anything after 7 or 6 or whatever, or at least 4 hours before you
go to sleep.
Right. If you're like, well, I work just 4 hours. And then, try to fast once a week, where you don't eat anything. That's a simple one. So all these things, right, that you try to do to be simple, and eating clean, like for example, eating whole foods, like eat whole foods daily, right? So I can tell you right now, I've been through Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. I can tell you right now with absolute certainty, and it's the weirdest, the most bizarre thing that I've ever experienced in my modern life, because how I grew up in Southern California was exactly the opposite. It is easier to eat healthy and clean in Texas, Mississippi, Georgia, and Florida than it is in Arizona, New Mexico, and California. It is almost near impossible in my last 2 weeks of traveling all those states. It is almost near impossible to eat clean in California. I'm like, what is happening right now? How is this possible? It's just so crazy to me.
You can eat clean, but it's going to cost you an extra 40%. Because like Whole Foods.
Because it's not that way in Texas.
I agree. I have no answer for that. And when you look at the cost of living overall, to eat clean in California is significantly more expensive.
Like, for example, hold your hand up like this. Hold your hand up like this. Notice the way your hand looks. It's not puffy. My hand is not puffy and your hand is not puffy. That is, most people don't realize that you should not have puffy joints or hands ever. If you do, that is low grade systemic inflation. That is, and if you go and get a test for either CRP or HSCRP, so high sensitive C-reactive protein, or CRP, I guarantee you, if you're puffy, your HSCRP will be elevated. Your high sensitive C-reactive proteins. And systemic low-grade inflammation is what kills people. That's what creates all of the health issues that all cause mortalities. So and when I noticed when I was there, especially in California, you and I talked a little about this, I was like, isn't California supposed to be like the health mecca of the world? And it's not. And then when you go and you look at the studies now that they're doing, because now they're able to do 10-year and 15-year studies on I don't want to say any brand names, but meat alternatives. You're getting people that are getting cancers now because of the carcinogens in meat alternatives that are higher than a normal, red meat's carcinogenic. Isn't that crazy? It's just absolutely crazy. And I don't know if you see this because I know you eat clean too. How do you shop? Do you shop at Whole Foods, Costco? I'm like mostly Costco, Sam's Club, and Whole Foods. That's like my main go-tos.
Yeah. So
is that true for you?
Yeah, I do Costco, I do Whole Foods and Sprouts. And so,
okay.
And then, every now and then I'll there's an Aldi that's close by if there's something that I want to get that's, simple and close, but it's very difficult. And I think, going back to your point originally, Chris, you were talking about just different ways to be able to live a healthy lifestyle. One of the things that I think on a practical level that people mistakenly do is we've taken the information we had in the past and we didn't realize that the habits we developed when we were, in our, early years have really hurt us. For example, when you look at the food pyramid, really the food pyramid should be inverted. We talked a little bit about that before. And then we also talked about the fact that people were told that they should eat a lot throughout the day so they can continue to keep their metabolism going. But what happens is when you eat high processed foods, it spikes your insulin. And then an hour later, you eat something else and it spikes your insulin. And then another 2 hours, you eat something else. It spikes your insulin. And so your insulin is being spiked all the time. If you think about people during the agrarian age, they would hunt their food or grow their food. They'd eat a meal. They'd go to work and spend time depleting the energy they put into their body. They weren't just eating to live. I mean, they weren't just living to eat. They were eating to live, and they were eating whole, unprocessed, organic foods naturally. And then when you had all of this influx of grains and high fructose corn syrup and all of these additives, people began to really have their dopamine spikes, and we became addicted to food. And when you become addicted to food, you want to eat all the time. So now what happens is, I remember when I was overweight, I remember eating because I wasn't full as opposed to eating when I was hungry. And so my brain was twisted and said, okay, you're no longer full. It's time to go and eat again.
Yeah.
And so when you operate from that worldview, your eating habits are terrible. And that's what happened to me, man. And so, I was up around 200 pounds. And for my size, that's just not healthy. I wasn't like morbidly obese. And that was the other thing, is that, my body, distributed my weight fairly well. My gut was definitely a lot bigger. My face was a lot puffier, but I wasn't walking around, having to walk and with my arm out like this. And my breath wasn't puffy and labored and anything like that. So because of that, I didn't necessarily think there was a problem until I looked at myself in the mirror one day and I was like, I don't like what I see. And so I needed to make a change. And especially once I turned 50, I really made some hard decisions. And so I realized that in order for me to live a long, healthy life with vitality, I needed to eat only 2 or 3 times a day and eat good quality foods and allow my body to process that food by having long times of fasting cycles. And so that's what's really helped. And, I have a healthy lifestyle, an active lifestyle. I sit down from time to time, but every time I'm sitting down for 2 or 3 hours, I get up and I do some type of activity to get my heart rate up again. And so, I agree with you, Chris, man. We really have to understand that we need to curate our home environment, and we need to find different places within a 2 to 10 mile radius, depending upon where we live, that has foods that supports a healthy lifestyle. If we don't, we're just going to drift away quietly and continue eating into insulin insensitivity. Our kidneys and our livers pay the price, and all the visceral fat shows when we look at ourselves, looking at all the fat on our body. So
you're right. Yeah. It's so, I think it's so easy to be bad. And that's the hard part. It's so easy to be bad. But I can tell you something, once you make the change, like this is my 14-year-old makes my matcha every day for me. I joke that he's on the matcha bar. But once I'm going to say it, Len, I'm going to lose my Starbucks Gold status for the first time in 10 years this year.
Oh, no.
I've been a Starbucks Gold member for 10 years because I was at Starbucks every day, twice a day sometimes. I love Starbucks.
I remember.
And then over the last 3 years, I chewed it down to, okay, I'm not going to do caramel. I'm not going to do cold brews anymore. I'm not going to do caramel macchiatos anymore. I'm not going to do fraps anymore. And then I'm just going to do matchas. And I was just on the straight with just the matcha for them. And then I go, okay, half sweet matcha, right? And now I'm like, I can't even go there anymore. Not even just to try it. It's disgusting.
Really?
It's gross.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I'm going to blow your socks off right now. So in my matcha, I do a few things. I do creatine. I do beetroot, fermented beetroot. And then I do whole A2 milk, A2 protein milk. And then expensive organic matcha powder. And then that's it. A little bit of maple syrup, a little bit of organic maple syrup, and then that's it.
Good for you.
And that's what I do. It's great, right? But I have officially, as of yesterday, I can't do In-N-Out anymore.
Really? Oh,
I can't even eat it anymore. I loved In-N-Out. I loved In-N-Out. But Mary and I looked at each other, her too. She's like, I just can't do In-N-Out's not doing it for me anymore. And what I mean by that, the point is with that whole thing is that once you change these things, and by the way, your body will adjust. You can't do it like this. I mean, you can, but not everything. Like you got to gradually. And I'm getting to the tail end now of things where I'm like, there's nothing left, right? But here's what I can tell you happens. You eventually get to the point where you won't want to eat that anymore. Like, I can't even eat a Snickers bar anymore. I can take one bite of a Snickers bar and go, ugh. I can't even eat a Reese's Pieces peanut butter cup anymore. It's disgusting. It's just, you're better than me. I have to tell you, because I still love sweets, and I will definitely indulge in a cheat day once a week to continue that, because I've gone 3-4 months, but man, I like eating sweets. I'm going to give you one. Do you like cinnamon? I do. Absolutely. Okay. Take some dark chocolate, melt it, mix it with cinnamon, and put it with some high quality vanilla ice cream. That sounds good. I might have to do that. And I'm talking about ice cream that's like cream, milk, eggs, butter, and some sugar. That's it. Right. And by the way, Costco's ice cream is not that bad, dude. They have good quality vanilla ice cream. But anyways, Len, I want to talk to you about a couple other things here too. As far as the war in Iran and things of that nature, which I think are extremely interesting given, the time and where we're at right now, because I think what we're seeing now is, it was kind of almost like to see military tactics change back, like when you had the Prussians trying to fight in lines against Napoleon, and Napoleon was guerrilla warfaring him in small little battalions and just utterly destroying him, all right, and flanking him. You saw that, right? When military warfare changed from fighting in lines to changing in strategic positions, all right, and whatever that's called, historians, there's people like, oh, this is called this, right? Whatever that is, right? Whatever the tactic is for that. But what we're seeing right now, I think, in today's era, and you started to see this, you saw it happening a little bit during, when Obama was strategically striking Syria with drones, the big ass Predator drones from like 15, 20 years ago. Yeah. Right. You saw an idea, but no one really extrapolated where that was going. Whereas now you see what's going on in Ukraine. But now you see it even more so here with Iran. What is it, 95%? And that might even be too low. What is it, 99% of the casualties are all mechanical casualties at this point, or drone. And you're starting to see drone on machine. Like you're almost like seeing the prelude of machine warfare, right? Where whoever has the best drone swarm or the best drone army wins at this point now, because no one really even wants to expend human resources. And given now with birth rates, not just where in a region, but globally, birth rates are globally
historically low,
systemically low, and that is no doubt because of pollution. Food is a big deal with that, especially in America. I know with the hormone disruption with the food. We're seeing this shift here in warfare is now changing to, it's kind of like, reminds me of the part in Star Wars where, if you had a drone army, you were cool, but if you had a clone army, you were the shit, right? And now it's like you're seeing that happen. And it kind of leads me to believe does traditional warplanes and traditional Navy vessels become obsolete now? Where does this go? Where does this go now? It's becoming that way.
Yes. And in last episode, we were just talking about the war, and we talked about the fact that we would talk strategy. And to me, I think you've got to, with any war, especially wars that the United States are involved in, ultimately you have to follow the money. And let me break down what I mean. So Iran, I love our editor, man, because he gives us such good information, man. Shout out to Frame. But there was one that he showed us where Iran and China are in a relationship with each other with regard to the oil, right? So about 60% of Iran's oil is going to China, right? Who's the recipient of Iranian oil, which makes up about 20% of the oil it needs to, fuel its energy. One of the things that they're talking about is exchanging the China paying Iran in yuan, which changes the dynamic, because one of the things that's, part of United States dominance is the ability to have, the world's reserve currency in dollar bills. If that ever changes, the whole world order completely collapses. And so that's interesting. And when you look at the amount of oil that China has, it's nothing. They rely on Venezuela, and they rely on Iran to create a lot of its oil. So now because the United States controls the oil that's coming from Venezuela, that's one of its major distributors that are gone. If the United States controls the oil that goes to China, that has to make China rethink their entire strategy, because when you look at them taking over Taiwan, when you look at them creating their roads and belts initiatives in Africa and South America, the only way they can do that is to have excess and continuous flows of oil. And if the United States chokes off two of those three, they've got a big problem. And so there was a chart. If you look at it, the United States has about 18.5% of the biggest crude oil producers. We're the largest. The second is Russia. So if Russia starts to look at the United States taking over Iran in terms of the oil production, because Iran is, let's see, so Canada 6.5, Iraq is 4.8, Saudi Arabia is 12%. So huge. Iran's 3.4%. So you've got you've got all of these dynamics at play. Imagine if Russia and China don't continue to interact with each other, because believe it or not, and you already know this, Russia and China aren't friends. They are in bed with each other just out of convenience. And so there's all of these different dynamics that are happening right now as we speak. And that's the reason why I believe, Chris, that in order for the United States to maintain its number one position in the world as the world's most dominant economy, they have to take control over what's going over that oil in Iran, because of the fact that China's there. So I don't see this ending anytime soon, because I believe that's their real objective. It's not regime change. It's not stopping them from getting a nuclear weapon. It's to be able to control the oil. What are your thoughts? What's
the hiccup here? What is the oil is, yes, obviously oil, because it's still the predominant medium to create almost everything. I mean, think about it. I was trying to buy my daughter socks at Walmart the other day, and none of these socks are cotton. You can't buy cotton socks. They're all polyester, which you and I know is
synthetic materials.
It's oil. It's plastic. Yep. It's plastic fabric. So you know how hard it is to buy clothes? Like, it's very hard to buy clothes that are cotton. Shirts.
Yeah.
Everything. I hate wearing anything unless it's cotton. If you haven't tried it either, like, you can get some good stuff that's like hemp and cotton, which is really nice. Because I just don't want the plastic stuff on me. It's disgusting, right? The way it makes you sweat and everything, it's gross.
Yeah.
But let's
like if this was plastic, you'd see a big ring right here.
Yeah. But damn, organic cotton shirts are expensive, dude. It's like $60 a shirt, bro. It's like ridiculous, right? But that just goes to show you again how we've pigeonholed ourselves into Chinese manufacturing, because everything's got to come from China, right? Which is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But let's do it this way. Why? We all know, like, for example, like Kardashev scales. You familiar with Kardashev scales?
No.
So Kardashev is a Russian physicist or scientist. Okay. He came up with the Kardashev scales, which determines the level of sophistication of a race. Right. So Kardashev level 1, 2, and 3.
When you say a race, what do you mean?
Like the human race.
Okay.
Or any other life form for that matter, right?
Okay.
Residing in so let me break it down to you. So Kardashev's level 1 indicates that civilization can harness all of the power, meaning energy, electricity, whatever you want to call it, power, let's just say, energy, that its host planet produces or can produce.
Okay. At first I thought it was like a going on the eugenics direction. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? No. Okay, I'm with you now.
Do you understand it now?
Clarify.
So a Kardashev level 1 civilization can control weather patterns, can control the functions of its host planet. Most medical issues are no longer a concern anymore. Okay. You're talking about living to one with 50, 200, that's 300, those are normal things. Okay. Kardashev level 2 means that civilization can harness all of its host planet's star's energy, right? So in other words, we can harness all of the energy that our sun produces. And now at this point, interstellar travel is possible, you name it. And then level 3 means that civilization has the ability to harness its entire host galaxy's energy. So all the stars in its galaxy, right? Okay, so human race is like Kardashev level 8.8. Okay, like we're almost there. We're almost there, but we're not almost there. But we're in the most dangerous point, because that's where theoretically civilizations can nuke themselves, right?
Okay.
Right? So what is the problem then with us getting off of oil globally? Why can't we just go all in on nuclear production of energy? Because we know that's the problem. The existential, like, everyone wants power production right now because AI needs power. It needs energy. It's the biggest energy draw now we have. So if we know the next step to dominance, world dominance, is technology in the form of AI, and we need power or energy to produce that AI to run it, why can't we why are we not investing in nuclear power? Why are we? What is the hole or is the oil just so entrenched that we can't get off it without causing too much pain or too much economic collapse? I almost feel like the economic collapse prevents forward movement in a sense, whereas the normal free market would allow nuclear energy to completely decimate the oil industry. Because realistically, we could be at that point. I believe we're at that point now where we could, with AI, we could produce batteries and cells this big to power things. Like why? I mean, think of it this way: why are American submarines and American aircraft carriers so superior? Because they're nuclear powered. Where's the disconnect here with this, Len? Why is this not happening? Why are we so? Because as soon as oil is off the table, like, you eliminate a lot of issues in the world.
Yeah.
Well, what's happening here?
I think what it is, Chris, is that human nature is to resist change, even though change is the only constant. And so when you look at oil, think about this. Oil is the closest indicator to inflation, more so than any other factor. Why is that? Well, cost of goods. So when food gets placed on my table, something has to transport it. It either goes through a plane, a train, or an automobile. And all of those are fueled by oil. Gas prices go up. Then it costs more to transport that food from point A to point B. And so all of these different industries and that logistical chain, supply chain, they're all making money, and all of it rises and falls with oil. That's one of the reasons why your party has been so much against this whole green movement, because if oil becomes a thing of the past, think about it. All the refineries, all of the car manufacturings that have combustible engines, all of the different transportations from boat companies.
I don't see it that way.
But that's the reality, because why have we been so,
But why can't we have
that's the answer to your question.
But why can't we have a juxtapose in it? Why can't we hybridize it? Why can't we, like, for example, why can't we have nuclear power powering all the critical infrastructure? And then you and I can go hop in our Ferrari and go burn some freaking petrol. Why not?
Well, why don't all homes have solar power? Why don't we harness the power of the wind and green energy to supply?
Okay, but that's where I talk about, like, and several people have mentioned this. I mean, even Cuban has mentioned this, and I'm not a Cuban fan at all, by the way. I think Cuban has lost his mind a little bit. I mean, that's just me. He left Shark Tank too. He's not a Shark Tank anymore. You know that, right?
I thought you were talking about Cuba. You're talking about Mark Cuban?
No, Cuban, yeah.
Yeah,
he's lost his mind a little bit. He should have never even associated himself with Kamala. I mean, Cuban is so smart. He's such a smart business guy. I understand it. I love Mr. Wonderful, I think, more now than Cuban. And I used to be a bigger Cuban fan, but now I'm Kevin O'Leary. I'm a bigger fan of Kevin O'Leary now. I think Kevin O'Leary just has his you-know-what together.
Okay.
But you're like cringing right now, right? You're like...
Because you're a Trump guy, so I understand.
Oh, come on! He's Canadian, Len. He's Canadian.
He's a Trump guy.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's a business guy.
Make your point.
You're making me forget my point.
You were talking about Mark Cuban.
Has said this. Cuban has said this. Yes, Cuban has said this a lot of times. He has said this a lot of times, and I think he's completely on point with this. If any president wants to make themselves extremely popular and have an extremely massive success in America, I don't understand why Trump has not sat down at the table, done everything he's doing, but at the same time gone, all right, boys, let's throw the freaking kitchen sink at American infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Why? Why are we not doing this? Why are we not building America's infrastructure to be the most badass infrastructure? Because there's so much work to be done. Most people look at America and they go, oh my God, look at these big metros of these cities are so modern in all these other countries, especially Asian countries. Well, yeah, no, duh. The cities in America were built in the freaking 20s, the 30s, and the 40s, and the 50s, and the 60s, and the 70s. They weren't built today. They weren't built during the 2000s. They were built. So why are we?
Well, okay, but you just crapped on Biden in our previous episode.
Oh, don't even say he was about infrastructure. I'm
just saying.
He didn't do it.
Okay,
but he didn't do it. He didn't do it though. He didn't do it though.
But he met opposition because I think okay, I agree with you 100% that America needs to focus on infrastructure. But the problem is that we have a 38 going on $39 trillion deficit. And so because the deficit is so bad, when you look at these ideas of building infrastructure, I think we need to rethink how all of that looks. For example,
the debt goes away. But here's the thing. The debt goes away by minimizing the debt. Do you understand what I mean?
No, explain.
Okay, I think we talked about this on a previous episode. It's going to require the denomination to become so small. And what I mean by that is that the GDP has to go to 20%.
Yes, that's the challenge, though. If it were that easy to be done.
But it's not, though, and I think that's part of Trump's overall strategy, Len, is to go like this, because that's exactly how China has achieved 12%, 10% plus growth, economic growth, because it was an entire focus inward. And they completely built their infrastructure to be as such. But now you see it going down. Where America gains its foothold is in being the leader, and it has historically been in technology. And I think we're going to do that again with robotics, autonomy, and AI. But you're right. To lend your point, you could turn every single family residence in America into a power plant. Just have the government put every single roof in America, put solar panels on it.
Absolutely.
So I'm with you on that. I'm 100% with you on that.
I hope that you enjoyed this content. We're going to continue to bring it to you. And every single time we're going to look to give you valuable, cutting edge content about health, about wealth, and about current events. And with that, Chris, it's always a pleasure having these conversations.
Likewise, sir.
Conversation has given you clarity on your next steps. Please share this episode with someone who's walking the same path. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. And remember, planning ahead isn't just prudent, it's an act of care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on The Family Office.